Hi, Kenneth.
Hi, Mayan.
Yeah, taking my time to invite you into this field. I met you as a teacher in the Assagioli training, and I became very curious now as I am in a phase where I'm establishing something called bodycraft. And with that, something new is arising with bringing bodies back, like awareness of body, daring to slow down time and be here in presence with each other. And from that, I just want to invite you to share where you are right now and how it is to be here with me.
I feel calm, relaxed, and in a kind of open, curious space, um, letting go of any particular expectation and just aligning and being present to what emerge. And of course, there is a curiosity around death because before we met, you asked about speaking about death, but I have not prepared anything. So
Mhm.
in a way, I'm just going with the flow.
I notice a smile, like from the heart of the not preparing and the open space. And if you could give like a context of your teaching, like where are you in this paradigm or not paradigm with body and death, maybe, if that
Mm.
is interesting.
Well, the paradigm I'm speaking from is that my true identity is me as a loving observer, consciousness itself. And from that identity, that center, I'm aware of body awareness, sensations, everything that arises from that context. But I have a full spectrum awareness. I'm also aware of thoughts emerging, emotional stage, images, desires, and that's central in psychosynthesis to have a full spectrum knowledge seeking paradigm. So I'm at the center and allowing whatever context or part of me to get into communication.
Yeah, right now I want to invite space and time because it's like sensing into what we are orienting with right now and aligning ourselves with. And I become curious because I have such like profound experience of starting to sense my own energy stream in the body and really like embodying body on earth after my experience of living outside in the woods and experiencing our body in a whole different capacity, state, belonging, like we are earth through our body. And I become curious because I don't have any thoughts of what you teach, but maybe you can teach me what I have learned from you with
Hmm.
that.
The central part of my teaching is to point people's awareness toward the center and help people realizing themselves as the witness consciousness. And when we have found the witness consciousness, and this is an inner experience that I am consciousness itself, and it's a silent space. And actually, when you wake up to that silent, loving space, nothing happens. But you can start witnessing all the processes and all the sensation, thoughts, emotions that emerges from that center. And from this witness position, you can start choosing what you want to do, what you want to engage with, how you want to approach what is emerging in your field of consciousness. And the more we are aligned with that center, the more we become anchored in our true identity in some way. It's this inner experience of being the witness can be unfolded and expanded into universal consciousness, but very often it's just a quiet inner loving space where you accept whatever is present. And from that acceptance, you can make more wise decisions of how to engage with whatever is present in your consciousness. So it's a very, very good place to be when you are confronting pain, struggles, whatever process you are in, because you are not then so identified. It's a disidentified place. And this actually allows you, if you so choose, to be completely engaged in your body awareness, or be completely engaged in your emotional state, or be completely engaged in here and now, because you so choose.
Mm. Mm.
So it's a place of freedom. It's a place of love and freedom. Freedom in the sense that you also know when you are not free, because waking up to yourself as witness is also waking up to your attachment,
Mm.
and the realization that you are not the master in the house. You're not in control, and you cannot always guide what is going on inside of yourself. But just having this little space between you and your experience allows you to influence what is going on.
Mm. Yeah, and as you say that, I'm actually like orienting on my right side, and I become curious because it's like a bit of a fog in front of my front skull when you talk about it, like freedom to choose. And there's also like this fog, and it's, oh wow, there's a spectrum of where I can rest my quality,
Hmm.
being with the fog and the energy stream here, and just like the thought here, and just like, yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Hmm. When I speak about it, I feel my heart expands. It's like a physical sensation in the breast, in my chest, and it's a sense of softness and calmness and centeredness.
Hmm. What comes to me from hearing that is I think it's some years ago now, I read about your experience of contemplating death, like a
Hmm.
deep contemplation, and calling in that experience if you want to share a little bit.
Oh, now I know what you're pointing to. I had a very, very vivid dream where I experienced a heart attack.
Mm.
And it was such a vivid dream that I actually believed that I had a heart attack. And I woke up. At that time, I lived alone with my daughter. And I screamed in the night, Anna, Anna. And then I realized that it was a dream.
Mm.
But the experience of fear and terror stayed with me for days. And I had to go to the doctor
Mm.
and have a, what do you call it, EEG or something like that. And I was completely okay. But it stayed with me for several months when I run for a ride. Suddenly, I had these anxiety attacks uh, because my heart was pumping, and then something in me feared that I perhaps could just die from a heart attack while I was running. So there was a real, I have a very well established belief what is going on when I'm going to die. But this experience really taught me a kind of humility about the body, my instinctual part, um, that has no connection to that belief, but just fear death itself, whatever it means. So, in some way, it connected me more deeply with the instinctive part of me and the necessity for feeling safe. Before that experience, I was a bit arrogant
Mm.
because I thought, well, yes, when I'm dying, I will prepare, I will see if perhaps I can withdraw from the heart center, or perhaps I will go out through the head center and join with my inner family. And,
You
very,
had a plan.
yes. And of course, I will ask my family around me to have a lot of sandalwood incense because I know that will help me release from the body. So, this is it's really well established as a belief system in me, but my body didn't care about that. So it was a wake up call.
Mm.
It was a wake up call that one thing is what you believe, another thing is the instinctual reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess from that point on, I started being more tender and more kind to my body awareness because I need to be there as a protector and a comforter, as a kind present when I'm feeling fear of death.
Yeah. And hearing you now in this raw simplicity brings me or leads my whole awareness back to my nature body because I lived 2 years very close to my thoughts and like terror and what I sense now is like coming back to the core experience where I simply had to let my logical brain, my right brain, just like, thank you for being here. And now I am here
Hmm.
to sense into the shift of the weather, to sense into the skin of like the temperature, like that's the original state, right? To really tune in and just be so humble to nature that we are here to receive and sense in every moment. That's what comes from me very strongly.
Hmm.
Hmm. And then there's the duality of the modern life, like living with such a high influenced brain. And like, so now I'm in like a middle where I'm like, is this real? Was it real? And then daring so much to trust, to come back and even have this conversation with you right now and opening up for another languaging, another sense of being. Like, are there several depth of death, or is it like one death?
Hmm. I believe there is different types of death according to what level you are experiencing death on. There's a physical death. We all know that's a portal we have to enter, but there's also a psychological death. And whenever we let go of an old identification, it might be identification with our beauty, identification with our professional role, identification with our paternal role, being a specific man or woman. Whenever we let go of expectations to ourselves, something that we have found some kind of a security in, because it has given us what we need from the environment, then we experience some kind of a death. And it's actually a real death. That's why it's so painful
Mhm.
to let go of our old self identifications. And I think in some way we are especially if we are committed to transformation and development, we are in a continual life and death process. Life in us, spirit in us, continually pushes forward and inspire us, will us to bring forth all the that have not been embodied. So we get constantly pulls and pushes from something in us that wants to love more, live more, bring forth what is on the inside. And that is also this is also where death enters
Mm.
through different types of crisis. And finally, there's also a kind of spiritual death. It's a very, very high attainment. It's what's called the dark night of the soul, where we in some way let go of ourselves as individualities and merge completely with the universal. I don't know nothing about that, but it's well described by many mystics. So death is here always as a renewal.
Mm.
Uh, we cannot escape it, but we can embrace it. And in some way, one part of it is the letting go. That's the more feminine part of the will, the letting go process. But another one is reaching out for the new and saying, yes, this is what I want to bring forward. And this is the more masculine dimension in us. And we need to find the balance between these two. Sometimes we are in the feminine process and we grieve, we let go of whatever identification that is no more serving us. And at other times we reach out and find a new and higher type of identification and start building our life around that idea or that inner experience of authenticity.
Mm.
And death is very much related to the will, because the will is fundamentally the will to be who we are. The will to be who we are. And this will go straight to the one, to spirit itself. So it's an
Can
unfoldment.
you say more specific? I don't understand. It goes straight up to.
It's like, there's only one will, there's only one dynamic evolutionary drive towards wholeness. And we are that evolutionary drive toward wholeness, that will to be who we are.
Is that the egg? Because now I can feel like a light around my heart, and I'm also aware of up here.
Yeah, uh, exactly. In the heart center, we have what our Bento calls the psychic being. And this is Atman in our heart, to use yogic language. It's the spiritual embodiment in our heart center. And this part of us is connected with the universal. And it's gently pushing from within and trying to be born again and again. In the Upanishads, it's described as a flame in the heart center. And that flame has the potential to be a blazing sun. So when we kindle that flame, we listen to that word of authenticity, we give it oxygen, and it starts to impress the emotional, the body, and the mental with dissatisfaction. It's an inner voice saying, this is not me, this is not me, this is not me. And this is the letting go. But also a devotion. Devotion is a kind of love. This flame has a devotion to everything that is good, true, and beautiful. And it constantly reaches out for the realization of that perceived goodness.
What comes in like circles back to me again and again as I hear you. It's like the leaf falling, and I just realized in nature that, oh, but everything is a spiral. It's, yeah, so I feel like just naming that, something drops in my energy system and can kind of like drop down in the stomach. It's not just here anymore. It's like received by Earth
Yeah.
in a way. So it's not this scary, because I was kind of sitting on the edge and kind of like, yeah, but our parents are getting older and maybe they will leave soon, and just like I'm a bit scared. And then embodiment, realigning of actually remember alignment, like also
Mm,
Earth. That
mm,
felt very complete, whole.
mm,
And in connection and relationship with you, I feel supported and safe.
mm,
So it's like a lot of elements here.
mm. I feel I feel some kind of an energy related to surrendering,
Mm.
surrendering to the leaf that is falling and seeing as a natural process. And sometimes we are in the winter, and this is where we disintegrate, where we die, where we fall apart. But there's so much in our ego that is afraid of it, that contracts around identifications and fear of losing because we don't trust the process.
Mm. I sense it's a nature mind, embodied cognition. And you call it ego, and for me, it's more like different parts of myself that try to protect, as there were specific moments of time and space where the brain correlated with the system and kind of like created a loop, a survival loop, which
Mm,
holds both belief system, thought patterns, energetic holdings, like, and so on. So it's like being so still in a moment that the mother hand or the mother observation can kind of like just sit and wait
mm,
until it feels safe enough to integrate this part of me that has simply kept me so safe.
mm,
That is how I trained myself in the first 6 months of my experience when I was in the labo. And I was so petrified. I was parking my car after work and I would walk through the dark woods to get to my camp where my dogs were waiting. And I was so scared of the dark. And it was like meeting my smallest parts in the car. And I just put on music, sat there and chilled and just waited and communicated with those small parts. It was like,
mm.
I don't know how many hours I sat there, but yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's the practice.
Mm. Okay, now I get it. I never get like spiritual language and stuff, but it's like I'm starting to align
Mm.
with. Mm.
So what you did there, you just sat with it, you watch it, and perhaps you even communicated with it.
Yeah.
Um, is a kind of expanding your inner space of acceptance to what is. And that for me is the feminine part of transformation.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And the masculine part is even though you have fear, you still walk through that wood.
And right now, in this specific moment, I am in the woods all by myself in the dark, and I just simply expand even more because you are here also.
Mm,
And this is wow. Because I experience fear in these days where I'm kind of like trying to not try anymore
mm,
and just be. Because one thing is the individual patterning, and the other thing I became aware of is the societal level. Like, oh my God, there my mind is trapped like in the corner on the store when I see this specific project. Like so many thoughts comes up here. And then there's the ancestral level of sitting in front of the fire and actually like I felt I became like a tribe within. We have lived in nature forever.
mm,
And I stopped there because I'm not comfortable with naming it by myself. So I would love to invite you into dialogue about this.
mm. I don't think I. What would you invite me into a dialogue about nature?
Nope. The ancestral possibility of ancestral field that we are also
Mm,
kind of like becoming aware of here.
mm.
Thank you for being specific.
I think how I experience this is that the past, and the past is our own personal background, but also the background of our family roots for many generations. And the past is always now. The past is never something that is behind us. The past is right here and now, impacting our awareness right here and now as the emotional tone, the quality of the present moment, the thoughts that are emerging is conditioned. We are in some kind embedded in a collective energy field. And that collective energy field is so dense of experiences. And it is impacting how we think, how we feel, how we act. So the past is not in the past is in the now. That's very, very important and to know that is to have a wider inquiry into why am I experiencing what I am experiencing right now? Is that something just concerning me, or is it part of a collective environment? Perhaps it's my mother's fear I'm picking up. Perhaps it's trauma from the race that I'm part of. Perhaps it's, and no matter what it is, I think it's important to say that we have the responsibility to witness it, accept it, and choose how to deal with it. And in this way, we are cleaning up not only our own personal karma, if you want, but also collective karma, collective impacts. So it's actually a profound service we are offering humanity by raising our frequencies, the qualities of our emotions, thoughts, actions.
I feel my heart. And for me, hearing you, it's like I became aware that I'm kind of like tilted forward with the back, with the upper body. And as you mentioned, the culture, it was like the tempo. I became aware of the tempo that is affecting me here in this environment. And then kind of like leaning back, because in my system, there was kind of a bit of confusion. It was like different streams of timelines and different rhythms and tempos. So it's like leaning back and then just trusting. And it's like I want to become so slow here with just like we can call it like a sensual quality, but it's not like sexual, sensual at all. It's more like becoming aware of our life stream energy. And that is what comes to mind when I hear you speak about ancestral. Like there's so much power that now can be invited to just be here when we raise our frequencies, even though I don't even understand logical what all of that means.
Mm.
Mm. It's like the back body never has been trained in the tradition of just leaning back and receive.
Mm. Why is that?
So there's both like a personal level of being bounded in trauma, being bounded in societal, but for me, it's more interesting to be curious on the ancestral field.
Mm.
Why is that? It's like aligning, like simply being safe in the body of sensing, feeling, sensing.
Mm.
Mm. Mm.
There's some, I'm noticing the need for safety.
Mhm.
Real bodily safety is very rare if you really dig deep into your cellular consciousness.
I don't know, do you want to like give us a transmission of some practice or something in the last minutes, or how do you want to flow the last 10 minutes we have?
Mm. No, it was just emphasis on the need for bodily security and safety, instinctual safety. And it's something I have to remind myself about because there's so much mm, masculine drive, or, just going through it without feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an energy that just do the next thing. But then all these levels of fear and anxiety, they keep building up beneath the surface. Uh, so I was just called back to this slow perceiving awareness of the instinctual.
Mm. Which led me back or in with my today's contemplation. Oh, actually, almost like just checking in if my languaging doesn't seem too weird for everyone. But it was like in deep, deep contemplation of embodiment. It was like I can actually wake up and actually like, oh, I'm newborn again. Like I can feel my skin. I can like, oh, sense from the inside in a way. Like when we are born, we are kind of like, oh, here's my skin, and we are being mirrored and we discover ourselves. So there's like a purity in awakening to the embodied cognition again.
Hmm.
Of like, oh, I'm allowed to, oh my God, this feels so good. Like this moment and this moment, like, yeah, that kind of awakening.
Hmm.
And that is bound with shame. I just notice now my face becomes like heated. So it's like, oh, the layer of sexuality is here. And sexuality is for me also sacred, but society has imprinted me to think that oh, this quality is sexuality.
Mm, mm,
If I express myself right, or like, yeah.
mm.
Oh, that was a heavy energy. Like, oh, I get tired speaking about or to this
Mm,
on my left side, actually.
mm. It's a kind of nervousness. Mm. So there's some kind of there are reactions to taboos, and you can force yourself through it and saying, no, it doesn't exist, or you can allow yourself to just notice it and breathe into it, naming it.
And how is that for you right now?
I think it's good. I'm just staying with the sensation of a little contraction in the solar plexus,
Mm.
a little nervousness.
I want to meet you here. I sense my solar plexus also now. And I wonder what would happen if like we bring in awareness of like a tickling quality in the solar plexus.
Mm. It's like
Mm.
there are many doors I can enter. You know, this is one door, and there's a vibration here. Yeah, perhaps it's not a nervousness. It could also be, when you enter something that is perhaps a bit dangerous for some part of us, then there is some kind. It can be a blend of excitement and fear.
Mm.
But then there's also other uh, energies present. And then I'm in the middle, I'm in the center, and I can choose which door to open.
Mm. I absolutely adore speaking with you, Kenneth, because it's like the sensuality, the feminine side was kind of like becoming soft and gentle, and then you brought in, and here I am in the middle, and my system settled like that also. So it's like bringing this quiet stillness, and in this space there is no fear at all.
Hmm.
Together with you right now, there is no fear at all. Actually, it's not correct. When I said together with you, there is no fear right now, then there was a small layer of maybe like connection. So we could have like explored that. But in the perception of ooh, feeling so utterly safe within my body.
Hmm.
Hallelujah. Yeah.
Hmm. I still sit with a sense of tension that is a blend of excitement and a blend of nervousness.
Mm. And I just want to jump out of this to ask you about the container of time because I see it's 3 o'clock also.
Mm, mm. So
So,
perhaps we could find a way to just honoring
mm,
what is. Very often, this is something that I have taught myself very often. It's enough to name a thing, to acknowledge, I see you.
to be honest, Kenneth, this smaller part of myself is like, oh yeah, saved by the dong. It felt good to be ding donged and then like, oh, and withdraw a little and take baby steps. It's a lot of activation, I believe, simply
Mm,
by bringing awareness to this. Yeah.
mm.
Mm. Thank you for spending your time with me.
You're welcome. It was not what I expected, but it was much better.
Good to hear. Mm.
Yes.
Appreciate you deeply. Thank you for your dedication, how you present your teachings, and how you form and shape reality with your like a diamond precision clarity. I really appreciate that.
Mm. And thank you for inviting me into your space. It was a pleasure and good for my nervous system
Mm.
to calm a bit down.
Mm.
Perhaps I experienced the woods or the environment that you are in, the stillness. Uh, it's good.
Mm. Mm. So I would love to have like a small closure just
Mm?
to be aware of Earth, be aware of body resting on Earth.
Mm.
So we have been experiencing a lot of, for me, dimensions, reality, patterns. So it's always good to kind of like come back, center, align, and ground.
Mm.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Hmm.
And I will just